All right, so we are back at it again. And I am terrible at this because I keep finding deals and I keep repairing the stuff that I find wrong with it, right? So, as you might have seen on the other videos, I have the Method 401s with some mongrel tires, okay? And we are going to Pismo Beach, and so you'll be okay with knobbies, but it's definitely recommended that you get paddles. And so what I did is I drove to Ramona and bought a set of rears, some CST Sandblast paddles, and then I drove all the way to Riverside for the front smoothies. Okay, brand new, right? These have never been ran, neither one of these. These came with rear rims, okay, and they're $450, and it's a brand new setup, right? And I was gonna steal 2 rims off of the knobbies, but I find it much better to have both sets so you could swap anytime you want. It's much more convenient, it's just more practical. So I was scrolling on, I think, Craigslist, and I stumbled on a deal. A guy was selling 4 Method 401s, just the wheels with no tires, and I ended up getting them for $260 for all 4, but they were hurting, okay? This is the 2 that I haven't refinished yet, just to give you an example, right? So you can definitely see that they had some tire sealer on here, and I mean, they're pretty scuffed up. The guy tried spray painting them before he sold them to me, just to make them look a little fresher, but you could definitely see that there's gouges and scrapes and scuff. I mean, typical stuff that you'd find on an off-road vehicle, right? But for me, I can't live with that. And so what I ended up doing, and it came with mismatched bolts and all that. So here's the finished product, okay? This is one of the fronts that I refinished, okay? I've sanded it, took an orbital to it, took it all the way down, and then you know, I mean, refinished everything. And then it's not powder coat. What I ended up doing is I used some filler primer, some sandable filler primer, and then I hit it with this paint that I've been using for a really long time. If you look at the comparison, right, the matte, I mean, it looks identical. It looks exactly the same, right? And to be honest, I've been painting cars with this paint. My old drag car, I rattle can the whole thing with this paint, and it doesn't leave any streaks, which is the amazing part about this paint. And it's duplicolor. Okay, so it's a duplicolor spray paint. They sell it at O'Reilly's, AutoZone, but it's trim paint. Okay, duplicolor trim paint. Okay, I've had really good success with this paint, and the most amazing part about it is it doesn't leave any streaks. There's usually, when you rattle can stuff, it has, you know, lines where between coats, and with this stuff, you could scratch it. You could make a scratch on this, and you could hit it with that after. Just clean the area and hit it. You don't need a sand, and it'll blend right in like nothing ever happened. This paint is amazing. I highly recommend it. It's not the most durable stuff. That's why you prime it. Use a good primer before. But it's definitely gonna work for what I'm doing. I'm going to Pismo Beach, I'm going to the sand, right? Now I'm gonna go rock crawling. I'm not doing anything crazy like that. Nothing too crazy abrasive on it. So, but I was really excited. I just want to show you progress. These things are looking tough. They're looking sweet. And if you know anybody who needs a stock cage for an XP, and I actually have a Turbo S 4-seater cage as well I'm trying to get rid of. I'm just trying to clear up some space here. I don't know if you've seen already, I have installed the salt mirrors. Focus that. Focus, it's too shiny. They're too blingy, there's too much bling on it. So I have the assault mirrors, and what I ended up going with too, because I have a brand new spare belt, and a lot of people mount these things outside you know, they have external mounts and they mount them to the cage, and the weather gets to them, the sand gets to them. I bought this PRP. It's a PRP spare belt holder, and there's room in there for a toolkit, a separate pouch, all that good stuff. That thing is only 40 bucks, which is amazing. I've seen similar kits and they're, you know, 100 plus. So for 40 bucks, PRP, it's matching the door bags. It's looking good. So that's the progress so far. That's the update. I did buy a tuner. So funny thing is I bought a Pv3, the Power Vision, and I bought it, paid them on PayPal. It was on eBay. It was a seller on eBay, and right before they were going to ship it, they hit me up and canceled. They said, hey, sorry, I didn't know you were in California. We're going to have to cancel the order because of emission laws. And so that kind of canceled that surprise. And so now I'm going to have to figure something else out. Maybe find another seller that's willing to ship this to California, and get that installed and go from there. But definitely want to install a tuner, not just for the extra power, but for the extra cooling, and yeah, makes it run a little better, a little cleaner. I heard these things have a lot of flat spots in the tune, and with that thing, you know, it gives you a good base, and you could always tune it on the fly. Hook yourself up a good wideband, and if you know what you're doing, you could tune it along the way and get the most out of it, and really tune it to your you know, to your desire, to your needs. So that's it. She's looking good. I think I might want to replace that grill too. I wish I could put a Turbo S front on it, but it seems like just too much of a task. It seems like too much of a hassle, because for one, you know, to do it right, you got to change out the whole dash. But people are doing like a conversion where they're making a plate that goes right here. If I get this thing off. Yep, I screwed that up. Yeah, so that goes that way. Okay. So they're making a plate. Get that down. They're making a plate that goes right here. You know, the Turbo S bumper obviously has a little tab right there to lock your Turbo S hood in. But yeah, they're making a plate that goes like over all this and has these like mounting points on it, and it looks pretty good. But I definitely like OEM finish, right? Nothing beats it, and you know, I'm proud to own this model. I could have bought a Turbo S, but I really didn't see myself, because I bought this thing cash. I own it outright. Still 168 horsepower, right? Same as the Turbo S. It doesn't have the beefed up suspension and the cool suspension, but it's simplified. There's less electronics on it to go bad. I really love the color scheme. This is what I really wanted, and I wanted the Fox Shocks edition, but everything's kind of built around everything that I have, right? So my toy hauler also can only fit this, right? So those 72-inch wide RZRs, I mean, they're just too wide. I think I'm able to fit, I think I'm like 68 inches in that trailer, and then you know, the distance too. I only have like 12 foot 3 inches or something like that, 12 foot 5. So everything's built around what I have. Maybe different for everybody else, but for me, that's the trailer I have. That's the size I'm able to deal with, and it kind of all made me. It all led up to the decisions I made in buying this one over Turbo S. And you know, regardless, RZR's gonna, you know, Polaris is gonna come out with a new RZR 2020 anyway in a couple months, right? So we're mid-year. Can-Am just released their new X3 yesterday, right? Their updates, suspension updates, 195 horsepower now, which you get out of these things with a tune anyway. All those Can-Ams, the RZRs, they all get, you know, about 195, 198 with a tune, with a stage 2 or 3 tune, and that's just an exhaust, right? So they said they updated the turbo, and it's got a high flow intercooler and a different intake, and it's clutched differently. It's clutched to handle the extra power, and now you could add 32s on it without having to reclutch. So that's kind of cool. I mean, the same thing Turbo S did, right? And it's still the same chassis, but I'm gonna be honest, when they come out with a new model like this, a new chassis, they tend to get 5 years out of it. You know, every manufacturer wants like a 5-year run out of their chassis, and that gives them enough time to recoup their R&D money. They get their R&D money out of it, and they get to find out what works and what doesn't work on a known chassis, right? So they'll roll it out first year. Usually you don't want to buy it because that's like the guinea pig. Yeah, you hope they would have worked out all the kinks, but nah, they haven't, right? You're gonna be ground zero. You're gonna be the one figuring it out for them, and all the recalls are gonna come from you, right? Because nobody's gonna push it like you, the everyday guy, and then production, and you know, a lot of hurdles to overcome. So this is you know, a known chassis. I got it. I got the year that doesn't have the issues, or less issues. Of course, everything's got their symptoms and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm happy. That's what led me to this guy, and that's what led me to that trailer, and God, look at those things. Look at them. I'm super happy with the way those things came out. Now it's time to take them out, mess them up, have some fun, and check back in with you guys. I think we're like 28 days or something like that, 3 weeks away from our trip to Pismo, so definitely excited for that. Running out of money quick. I mean, I'm like dead broke, especially if I want that tuner. I don't know if I need it, especially for Pismo. It's not like it's got crazy hills like Glamis, you know, the heat, you know, because you're able to lower your fan engagement temperature with the tuner. But don't tell my wife this, but I want it. I want the extra horsepower. I want to, it's just who I am, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'll check back in when I get some more updates, when I've done something else to it, but so far that's where we're at. And yeah, talk to you later.